continue with instance variables. Instance variables are variables that belong to an object of a class, unlike local variables of method parameters, which only exist within a specific method. Instance variables persist for the entire lifetime of an object. Some key characteristics of instance variables: they're declared within a class, but outside any method or constructor also. Each object of the class has its own copy of the instance variables, can be accessed by any non-static method within the class, exists for as long as the object exists, until garbage collection removes the object. Here we have a class called fun. Inside we have an instance variable, which is called tested of type boolean. Okay, it's located outside any method of constructor. Here, tested is an instance variable because it is defined inside a fun class but outside any method. Instance variable exists as long as the object exists, meaning the scope covers the entire object. Scope can be accessed by any non-static method within the class, not limited to a single method or block of code, unlike local variables. Different objects have different values for instance variables. Lifetime, created when the object is instantiated, persists as long as the object remains in memory, in heap memory, right? Destroyed when the object is no longer referenced, allowing garbage collection to reclaim memory. Instance variables provide longer life storage compared to local variables, making them essential for maintaining object properties. The scope of an instance variable extends across the entire object. This means they're accessible in all non-static methods of the class, can be modified by any method inside the class. Each object maintains its own unique instance variables. Okay, let's continue with our code demonstration. I'm going to create a class called car. Inside that class, I'm going to create two instance variables. Okay, private of type string brand. The other one will be called also private in speed. Then I'm going to create a constructors for both of them. Okay, now I'm going to create a method called public method of type void. This method will not return anything. I'm going to call this method display info, just like that, info. Okay, so in this method we are going to print car brand. So we print the brand. Okay, then we print the speed, car speed, and we print here the speed. Okay, that's it. Inside our main method, we are going to create objects of that class. Okay, we are going to create a car, car1, new car. Okay, it says we need to add two parameters here. First one will be Toyota. Very nice car, by the way. Toyota and speed 120. Okay, the other one will be called car2. Car2, new car. Okay, we are going to assign the value of Honda in here, and the speed is 150. Okay, finally we are going to print this. Car1, display info, and car2, display info. What I want to show you in here, this is what we call instance variables. Okay, instance variable, which means each object has their own reference of those instance variables. Now I'm gonna print this. Okay, thank you. Let's continue with class variable. A class variable is a variable declared with the static keyword inside a class but outside any method. So static must be used in order to create a class variable. What is a scope? It belongs to the class itself, not individual objects. A single copy is shared across all objects of the class. Some key properties that are shared across all instances of the class can be accessed even before an object is created. Memory allocation happens only once when the class is loaded. Example, if one object modifies a class variable, the change reflects across all objects. A class variable can be accessed using a class name, the name of the class, using dot notation, variable name, using an object reference dot notation, variable name. Example usage. Consider we have a class font with a static variable. So the way we use it is like this. We first make use of the class name, then using dot notation, we make use of the class variable, assigning the value of true using class name. Then we can use an object reference for doing the same. So this is the object reference, and this is the class variable. And now we are assigning value false because it's Boolean. Both approaches modifying the same variable since it's shared across all objects. Even if an object reference is null, accessing a class variable through it won't throw a null pointer exception because a reference is pointing to the class itself, not to an instance. The scope of a class variable exists as long as the class is loaded into memory. Visibility is determined by the access modifier, could be private, public, or protected. If default access is used, it is limited to the same package. Behavior across multiple objects. A change in a class variable from any object affects all objects. So I created this chart to explain this in a better way. So we have local variable that declared inside a method, scope limited to a method block, memory usage. Every method call memory usage. Every method call gets a new copy. They are accessed by method only. They're not shared across all objects. Then method parameter, declaring method signature, scope limited to a method, created when a method is called and it's removed after execution. Accessed by only the method, they're not shared across all objects. Then we have instance variables. They're declared inside a class because they're non-static, exists as long as the object exists, any copy per object, any instance method. No, they're not shared across objects. Finally, we have class variables. They're declared inside a class. Scope exists as long as a class is loaded. Memory usage, one copy per class shared. Accessed by class name of object. They're shared across objects, yes. Okay, let's continue with our code demonstration. I created this class called class variable demo. And now I'm going to create another class called company. Company, inside this class, I'm going to create a class variable. We need to use the static keyword, then string. I'm going to create a string variable called company name. I'm going to assign the value of company1. Then I'm going to create a instance variable, private, and this will be type string employee name. Okay, and after that, I'm going to create a constructor for the employee name. Okay, now I'm going to create another method, and this method will be void of type void because I don't want this method to return anything. This method will print some information. That's what I'm calling display info. So inside this method, I'm going to print the company's name, and then I'm going to print the employee. The employee name. Okay. Now let's create our main method. Let's create our main method. Inside this method, something to know which is really important here. This static variable, this is shared with all the objects created. This static variable is shared among all objects that are going to be created in the future. Inside our main method, I'm going to create an object. I'm going to call this like that, company. What do we need? We need the string. Okay, I'm going to call this Linda. We need to pass a name. Then the other one. I'm going to create two. The other one will be called imp2, and here Maria. That's it. After that, we are going to display the information. mp1, and then we're going to call the display info method. Okay, we need a space here, line, I'm sorry, display information. Okay. So okay, company 1, Linda, Maria. You see, this one is shared among all the objects. Okay, Okay, now we are going to change the class variable. So there are two ways, right? Company, then company name. Now I'm gonna assign the value company2, just like that. So now I'm gonna take this. No, I'm gonna print this and space here after update, so we know the difference. After defining the company name, company name. Okay, now we are going to print these two. So let's see this in action. Okay, now we see the change. After updating the company name, it has changed to company2, right? We have changed in here, company2. We can see in both objects the information have changed. Thank you.